and operated a vessel that imploded recently, killing 5 people, is suspending all exploration and commercial operations.
Last month, the company's submersible vessel, Titan, is thought to have imploded during its descent to take passengers to see the remains of the Titanic. Investigations are ongoing into exactly what happened. The U.S. Coast Guard is just one of the agencies looking into the accident. OceanGate is an American-based company, but the vessel itself was not certified by the Coast Guard. The website gave no indication when or if operations will resume.
Fox's Gernal Scott. A government watchdog is launching a review of the FAA's efforts to prevent runway incursions after several incidents of planes coming too close to each other on airport runways. The Transportation Department's Inspector General is opening an audit of how the FAA identifies risks and prevents incursions. The NTSB is investigating 6 incidents this year. President Biden taking his Bidenomics pitch to a manufacturing plant in South Carolina.
Bidenomics is just another way of saying restoring the American dream. 40 years of trickle-down limited the dream to those at the top.
He says nearly $500 billion in private investment in American manufacturing is more evidence that his plan is working.
Well, I hope he's going to start his apology tour here in South Carolina.
Republican Senator and presidential hopeful Tim Scott blames the president's policies for high inflation, hurting families. Renewed concern on Wall Street about Fed rate hikes, driven in part by a hotter than expected report on private sector hiring. That comes ahead of tomorrow's government report on June hiring. On Wall Street, the Dow down 365 points at the closing bell. It's off session lows. America is listening to Fox News.
The Dell Technologies Black Friday in July event starts now with limited quantity deals on top business PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Plus, get special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep plus next day energy with melatonin plus extended release B vitamins.
Prosecutors in Tennessee want the man accused of kidnapping and killing a Memphis teacher to be executed if convicted.
The district attorney in Shelby County filed notice with the court that they will seek the death penalty for Cleotha Abston, accused of killing Eliza Fletcher while she was out for a jog last September. Abston, a convicted felon who also goes by Henderson, has pled not guilty. He faces murder and kidnapping in the Fletcher case, as well as additional charges in other cases, including aggravated rape and kidnapping. Abston spent nearly 20 years behind bars for kidnapping an attorney at gunpoint back in 2000 when he was 16 years old. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
The Carowinds amusement park in North Carolina says a crack recently spotted in a roller coaster's column appears to have formed along a weld line. A new support column is now being made, and once it's installed, they plan extensive third-party testing. However, they also emphasize rides are designed with redundancies to ensure safety in the event of an issue like this. Pop star Harry Styles invites 3 Ukrainian refugees to his Love on Tour concert in Poland.
The trio supported by the International Rescue Committee, which set up an emergency response amid Russia's invasion of Ukraine. One fan named Marina, who saw the singer with her 13-year-old daughter and her daughter's friend, tells the organization she is so grateful, explaining they had a chance to forget their worries for a night and sing and dance. Photos of the group shared to the IRC's website. Styles' Love on Tour concerts, which kicked off in 2021, will finish in Italy on July 22nd. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Recapping Wall Street, back-to-back losses. The Dow down 366 points, falling back under 34K. Elisa Brady, Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois. Champaign and Panhandle Saturday. Some folks got rain, others did not, but thank goodness no significant widespread severe weather related yesterday. Not done dealing with rainfall, or at least enjoying rainfall. Yeah, scheduled at times over the course of the weekend into the first half of next week, and a remarkably cooler air mass and a cool weather pattern for the first half at least of the month of July. No shortage of rainfall making prospects as well. Hang in there. Skies turn partly sunny as the day wears on. Just an isolated sprinkle around early on this morning, up to 81, and a light west-northwest wind will bottom out partly cloudy, cooler tonight, and 59. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, pleasant, the high around 82. Clouds and some sun and some out and off sporadic shower and thunderstorm activity for the weekend. Pleasant on temperatures, no real rise on humidity either at 79 on Saturday, 83 on Sunday. Daily chance for a couple of showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm around Monday through Wednesday next week with high temperatures barely to 80 degrees. For Stephen G. Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage, kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, RJ Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over.
I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now. I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielema.
You no longer. Yeah, salute to yourself.
What? We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's the Dry
Schmack Dogs.
Thunderstruck! Yeah, Thunderstruck!
Oh, yeah, take it in, huh? It's Thursday. I keep thinking it's Tuesday. The whole holiday thing has got me so screwed up. But it is Thursday. It's a nice thing to just sit there and go, man, it's Tuesday. No, wait. It's Thursday. That's awesome. Andrew's on the hill tonight at Illinois State, so we'll pitching in the prime time under the lights, so we'll see how he does. Hopefully he'll make his friend Jeff Lindgren proud. Jeff back with the Miami Marlins, so awesome to see him back in the bigs, a Champaign product. Always fun to see all the locals doing really well. And one guy that has always been one of my favorites is going to jump on with us right off the bat on the Tapman's Towing phone line, and that is Tyler Underwood, who has a new role with the University of Illinois. No, not really a new role. It's a more important role now, and that is as an assistant coach that is now allowed to coach on court, whereas before he could not do that. So, Tyler Underwood, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, and it's great to be on the show as always.
Well,
it's been too long.
It has been, and we apologize, and we always appreciate you coming on. And obviously with you and Zach being able to be promoted from within on this Illini team, what does it mean to both of you guys?
Yeah, it's an honor. I mean, as someone who spent now 7 years here, has 3 degrees from the university, to kind of be able to take that next step up and do it for a university that I love and has done so much for me is a dream come true.
You have always basically done a lot of what you're doing now, including not being able to recruit off campus, which you still are not allowed to do. But other than that, Tyler, it's pretty much all set go, right? During games, during practice. I mean, you can be out there just like any of the other assistant coaches coaching the players, correct?
Correct. So really the only difference, a lot of the off-court stuff, film work will stay the same. Now Zach and myself just have the opportunity to get on the floor and teach and spend time with our guys, which is something we're super excited about. I think it's a great rule from the NCAA, especially for young guys like myself. It just makes sense for us to be able to find our voices, continue to teach the game, And it's obviously something that's great for me, but I think it's something that's great for the student athletes, which is kind of what this is all about.
And Tyler, it's funny. I mean, your dad is awesome, and obviously the assistant coaches on this team are great guys. But you're almost closer. I know heck, you're starting to get old, my man. No, I'm kidding. But but you're closer to where these guys are in terms of you played at Illinois. Obviously, Chester did as well. We know that. But you're almost more of like a fellow student, if you will. In other words, you're closer to what age they are, et cetera. How much does that really help to be able then to hear your voice out there?
Yeah, I think it's, another form of communication. I think I still can relate to them in many ways.
Right.
That maybe the older generation can't. But, a lot has also changed since I played, and I recognize that. But the biggest thing is just being, another mentor for them, someone they can lean on, ask questions to, and help them kind of get to where they want to go so that we can achieve what we ultimately want to achieve.
And I've always wanted to ask you this. How hard was it to sit basically right on the bench and not be able to coach, which is something I'm sure that is, as someone that has grown up around a dad that coached all the time, and you obviously are in that role now, how hard is it not to sit there and say, all right, hey, on this offensive set, we got to do this. Was that difficult to do during games?
Yeah, it was. There was times when it tested my patience, but ultimately I think it was a great learning experience because I didn't have as many in-game responsibilities. I was able to sit there and observe a lot of things, take a lot of things in, and just kind of analyze the game from kind of that coach's chair without a ton of responsibilities. So for 2 years, I think I was able to kind of soak up a lot of knowledge, kind of bookmark, okay, if I was able to be on the court coaching, I would do this, or this would be my message to this guy after this mistake. So I was still able to take things away from it and try to find positives in it. But yeah, there was no doubt times where, I wanted to jump up and say something that I couldn't, but still was able to learn a lot from that experience.
Without a doubt. Tyler Underwood is our guest, assistant basketball coach, University of Illinois. How close do you think you resemble your dad when it comes to the coaching style?
I think we're two different people. Something he always talked about to me growing up was you could never try to be anyone else. It doesn't work. You have to be yourself. And that's one of the things I'm excited about in this new role is kind of finding my identity as a coach. My voice is kind of the term I use, how I'm going to teach things. Everyone kind of has their own style. And I don't really think I know what that is yet. You think about how you would do things, but until you're in the heat of the battle, you don't truly know. But I've been around a lot of good coaches. My dad's had great staff.
Sure.
So I've just tried to soak up kind of everything from each guy, and I'll kind of add my own style to it. But we have a lot of similarities. We see the game similarly. We both are hyper competitive, but I think my dad is an unbelievable coach, but I'm not going to go out of my way to try to be my dad because I am my own person and I got to do what works for me, and he has strengths that that may not be mine, and I may have strengths that may not be his. So just trying to be myself in it, and I think that's the best way to do it.
That's fair.
Have you always wanted to get into coaching? Obviously, it's in your blood, but was there a point where you realized that you wanted to follow in Brad's footsteps and get into coaching? Has it always been there for you?
Yeah, it's something I always knew. My mother always tried to talk me out of it growing up. But, and everyone would ask me, what do you want to do when you're older? And it was always, I want to be a basketball coach just like my dad. So I grew up in a gym, grew up around it. It's just something I'm passionate about, and I'm fortunate enough to where I get to pursue my passion every day. And, God willing, get to do it for a long time. But yeah, I'm sorry to my mother. She tried really hard to get me to pursue something else. She likes to remind me I have 3 degrees.
Use them, Tyler. Dang it, use them. Listen, moms are always proud of you, right? I mean, I think that's the case. We can't ever like really upset Mom that much. They're always proud of us as long as we're doing the right thing, and Tyler Underwood is definitely doing that. I want to go back to something you had mentioned earlier, that you had mentioned the idea that the NCAA is now allowing more assistance both on the women's side and the men's side in sports, and you had said, I think it's the right thing to do. Can you expand on that a little bit? Not that you weren't enjoying your role before, but what will this be able to do for guys like you and Zach all across the country in terms of just maybe kind of fast forwarding maybe your ability to be a head coach one day, I assume?
Right. Yeah. I think it just gets back to having to being able to learn your style as a coach. And I think ultimately who it benefits the most is the student athletes, because now you have more guys you can go to and watch film with, or get an on-court workout with. Whereas before, you had your assistants who, they had recruiting obligations throughout the course of the year. They have to go do different things. And before, so that would take a guy away from being here. So now you'll have more guys present with them that can spend more time with those guys. And then from a young coach perspective, it was hard to kind of find these opportunities in the college game.
Sure.
Like having 3 assistant coaches, like those are super hard to come by. So now just growing staff, giving young guys more opportunities, I think it'll help young coaches get more experience in things that really matter. So I think it's a win-win for both coaches and players, and I'm super excited by their decision.
It's interesting. It's kind of similar when I graduated college in the TV business. Back then you had CBS, NBC, and ABC, right? You didn't have Fox. Right. And then Fox comes around as more of a local channel, which opened up, considering it opened up maybe another 100 to 200 jobs out there in the country. And that's something, when you look at it, most people probably don't think about that there's only so many coaching positions in college sports. And so for you guys to be able to elevate like you have, I think it's a wonderful thing. And you need it right now, because there are so many things going on in the world of college sports, including the transfer portal and including NIL. I know we talked with you last year, and you had mentioned that, you kind of have to run your program now like an NBA team. Essentially, you're just refreshing your roster each season. You're bringing in some guys like Marcus Damask this year and others. What do you think of this squad, and what was that like, trying to piece everything together to get another set of players again?
Yeah, you made a lot of good points there, just kind of about the ever-changing college landscape. You mentioned Marcus. Super excited about Marcus. The one thing we really tried to evaluate this offseason in the portal was, again, we talked about a lot, getting guys from winning players, high character guys who fit what we're trying to do here. And that's on and off the court. And I think we've done that. Marcus, Quincy, Justin are all super old, mature, experienced guys that we're super excited about. And then you throw in, you get TJ and Coleman back, and, we're really excited about Ty Rogers. And back in 21, he was at the top of our recruiting board, and I think you'll see him take a big jump. So we think we have a lot of pieces that share a common goal of winning championships. And we like to talk about connectivity. And I think the 2 biggest things that kind of determine how far a team goes is connectivity and health. And I think this team has a chance to be super connected. And when you can have a team that's super connected in every facet, it makes it more fun, and it makes the basketball side of it go a lot smoother. So for us, we wanted to get guys that shared our vision, shared our goal, and I think we did a good job of that this spring. So I know we're fired up over here in Auburn.
I bet. I know we got workouts coming up here at 3:30, so I want to get you off the phone here pretty quick. But I did. What was it like for the staff and in the basketball office when you heard that Shannon and Coleman Hawkins were both coming back? I mean, you talk about, it's almost like winning 2 huge recruits. That had to have been just some exciting news for you guys to learn.
Yeah, I mean, it was uneasy, like anything. When you're going through that whole process, you want them to make the decision that is best for them. And ultimately, if that's going to the NBA, like, you have to have a contingency. And if they come back, you want to have a spot available for them. But I remember that night, CJ called my dad first, and I haven't seen him that excited in quite a long time, probably since, Iowa announced he was returning, or Kofi.
Right.
And then, Coleman followed it up, and, they both the cool thing was they both talked about coming back here to win championships.
Awesome.
And that's what we're all about. And it says a lot about those two. But yeah, that was a good night for Illini basketball.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, Ty Rodgers was on our airwaves last week, and Derek Piper asked him about the point guard spot, and he didn't hesitate. He's like, I'm the point guard of this team. As a guy that played a lot of guard, Tyler, I assume there's no problems. You just mentioned he was on top of your recruiting board in 21. Do you see Ty being able to really handle that position and going forward, especially with the squad that, you look at it and you think, all right, maybe they're a point guard away. Can he be the guy that really makes that decision and that impact for you guys?
Yeah, it's the hardest position to play.
Sure.
He's going to have a lot on his plate. But the one thing about Ty is he has the respect of every single person in our locker room, which goes a long ways in playing that position. That is who our guys, they trust Ty. And I know we as a staff trust Ty because he's such a good person. And that's probably not talked about enough, but being a good person, being a good teammate, in terms of being a point guard is half the battle. And sure, he'll have a learning curve in some areas. The guy's not played it a ton.
Right.
But I know how hard he works. I know he's going to dedicate himself to being the best he can be. And Ty Rodgers has won at every level he's ever been at, and I don't think that's going to change.
My last question for Tyler Underwood. I know I always run into you out in the tailgate lots because you guys and the players are always out and you're mingling and you're mixing and visiting with Illini fans. How important is we probably don't understand that maybe as the casual fan, but how important is like a tailgate Saturday for you guys with regards to bringing recruits in, with regards to letting the players of today's team be able to kind of meet Illinois fans? I'm sure they have a blast doing that. I know you and your dad and everybody seem to be having a good time. So what is that like on a Saturday, on a tailgate day where you guys are able to get out there and really mingle with everyone?
Lon, you know how it is. Like, there's nothing better than waking up on a Saturday morning and knowing there's a college football game to go to.
Yes.
We'll get an early morning practice in or do whatever we need to do for the day to get it done. But from my dad on down the roster, like, we're all excited to get over to the stadium, and it's great for our guys to get to interact with the fans. And then from a recruiting standpoint, like with kids these days, it's all about kind of that feeling, like, instant gratification. Like, we want those guys to feel the love from the fan base, to feel the vibe of the tailgate lot. Man, it's a huge part of our sell, and credit to Brett and everything they've done over there. They've been a blast to go to. Like, we're excited. We just had a recruiting meeting this morning talking about games we want to bring in our top guys, and it's an unbelievable experience. I know personally I'm looking forward to Saturdays.
I bet. I thought of one more. Shauna Green and that crew right there in your own building, man. What a season they had. I know your dad has been always very supportive of all the sports on the Illinois campus, and I know he can't be any more proud of what Shauna Green and that staff has done. And, man, it looks like the sky's the limit right now for that program.
Yeah, Shauna's a rock star. She's fun to be around. I love going over there to watch their practices. They're so competitive. They get after it. She has done a great job of instilling her culture. And speaking of point guards, Makira Cook's pretty good. Yeah, she's got some game now.
She is going to be fun to watch, maybe for 2 more years. That's the scary part for the Big Ten. It's like, hello, that's going to be awesome. Well, Tyler Underwood, congratulations, my friend. You are one of the best, and it's awesome that you have been elevated in your position, you and Zach Hamer both. You can follow Tyler on Twitter at Ty Underwood, ILL. It's always great to visit with you. We won't wait this long next time, my friend.
Great to visit as always.
All right, buddy. Thank you, Tyler.
Have a great day.
You too, man. That is Tyler Underwood. Great stuff. Now one of the main assistant coaches. It's kind of goofy to say because it's not like he wasn't one of the main assistants. But, you look at it from the perspective of you have Brad Underwood, you have Chester Frazier, you have Tim Anderson, and you have Jeff Alexander. And essentially those are the 4 that make up the coaching staff. But you also then have Tyler Underwood, you have Zach Hamer, you have all these other guys, strength and conditioning coaches, et cetera. You just go down the list. But now that they are given more responsibility, and I liked what he said, and it sounds like the NCAA, look, I am leading the pack when it comes to ripping the NCAA. And obviously, we all understand that they seemingly make about every wrong mistake. But it does seem in this instance that they've made a good decision in terms of allowing some of these other coaches to find their way into more important roles, which will, as Tyler said, let him kind of understand his voice and what it means to coach. And, of course, a lot of us have coached, whether it be youth sports, stuff like that. And we understand. I mean, every year you do it, you get a little bit better. You understand the kids a little bit more. You understand what worked the year before, maybe what worked with this certain age group of kids. That's the funny thing, is trying to figure out, all right, how are fourth graders going to be if I yell at them? Or how are sixth graders going to be if I don't do this? And so it's kind of everybody's way of kind of finding your voice, as Tyler said. So I'm excited about it. I know he brings a lot of energy and passion to the game, and I didn't ask him. I guess he's allowed now to run. I wonder if he'll get a tee this year. If you think he would deflect Brad and just be like, "Let me get this one." Man, you got two Underwoods now going at officials. Let's go.
That's a scary sight for some of these Big Ten refs.
We sit here and say that like Brad gets tees. He doesn't get that many technicals.
He doesn't, but that doesn't mean he's not on those officials almost nightly.
Hey, it's a game you got to play, right?
Yeah.
It is a game.
I mean, you think about some of these coaches in the Big Ten. Brad isn't even at the top of the list.
No.
Izzo and Fran McCaffrey.
Oh, my goodness.
Probably leads the country in tees here recently.
It is amazing when you start to watch a game and you just, especially the bigger the game, the more pressure it is, every possession counts, and you'll be watching the game and all of a sudden they'll be like, "Oh, so we're letting that go." And then on the other end, it's like, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So then here goes the dancing partners, right? Where you're like, well, hold on a second. Now, you guys, you just let that go on this end, and now you're calling it down here. So what are we doing exactly? And so then from the next 38 minutes, then you got coaches on both sides then, because then the coach on the other end says, oh, now he's going to complain and get the call. So that's not fair to us. Yeah, listen, it's a game. And it's just like being an athlete going out to play the game. Coaches have to be ready to basically defend their team and understand the style of the officiating that's going on. But I know there's a lot of mutual respect between coaches and officials, and hopefully you would say the same about players and officials, unless you're Draymond Green.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, Draymond punches his own players, right? Jordan Poole got him out of there at least, but it's interesting how some are just built for it, and others, look, you got to go out and fight for your squad and what you got. So I hope you enjoyed that with Tyler Underwood. Fun to visit with him, obviously. Derek Piper, who normally would dominate that conversation, down at Peach Jams. And I know Tyler, before he came on the air, mentioned that he's watching it on the big screen. So they must have, of course, video down there, and they're watching. I don't know if a guy, like I don't know him. If Morez Johnson is playing again today.
He is. I think that's what we have to work around for getting Pipes on the show today. He plays at 3:30, so he's tipping off in about 2 minutes.
2 minutes. That's right. As you said that, as I asked you that, I remembered that Piper said he's tipping off here in a couple of minutes. So what we'll do is we're going to kind of play it by ear and see when Pipes can kind of jump on with us to visit about Morez Johnson and Peach Jam. Maybe there's some other guys he's down there looking at as well. All right, if you want to weigh in, you can on the U of I Line on Link text line. It's 217-359-2255. 359-2255. Tyler Underwood joining us there on the Tapman's Towing phone line. Great to visit with him again. Lonte, Kyle Tosk. Shoot us a text. I don't know what we're going to talk about coming back next because we really didn't have a chance to visit about it before we started the show, but I know you wanted to expand on the Cardinals.
Yeah, and should I ask you what in the world happened in the ninth inning last night of that Cardinal game?
I texted with a buddy today, and his text to me was, you and I have both watched a lot of Cardinals baseball, and I know that we've watched bad Cardinals baseball before, and that's true. He's like, I just don't remember it ever being this bad. And I said, I think what it is, I know that there's been seasons that have been this bad. I remember back in the 90s, there were some seasons that were putrid, but it's almost as though this team shouldn't be that bad. Like those teams back then should be. Like they weren't that good, right? And you knew going in, and granted the pitching you knew was not going to be good on this team, and the offense, like last night, scores 9 runs and doesn't get a victory, so it's like, okay, well, we're doing our part. But certainly there's been plenty of games where the pitching has, well, no, hold on. There's been a few games where the pitching has come through and the offense hasn't. But I think the thing that gets it for me is that this team just literally finds a different way to lose every night. And it's weird. Like last night, it's the Marlins deciding to put the pressure on a ground ball to Hicks where they're going to just bring the runner home, the tying run, and hope that he scores from second and the Cardinals can't do anything about it. And the next thing you know, you got Contreras yelling 4-4, to come home with it. Or maybe he was on third, and then Hicks like hearing that and everything, and then all of a sudden just throwing the ball in the right field and 2 runs scored to win the game. And you're like, what? Right after Jordan Walker had homered to put him up a run. I mean, even Chip Carey is like saying Walker homered and the Cardinals are up 2. I'm like, no, they're up 1 now. It's just nothing is going right with that team, and I think that's the weird part about it is that it's not like they're a horrible team.
Definitely. I mean, talent-wise, they are probably in the upper third or at least upper half in terms of rosters. Right? I mean, I guess the pitching staff brings that down a little bit, but you look at the lineup. Time. This was one of the best offenses in baseball last year. And you're bringing back most of the same names from a 3-win team last year.
Well, we can talk a little bit more about the Cardinals and the Cubbies. I was going to ask you, the Cubs are the only team with a plus-minus in the positive.
Be great if that meant they weren't 7 games under.
Right. It's weird. They are the only team in the NL Central that has a plus on the plus-minus, which essentially means they've scored more runs than they've given up. And I know that isn't the be-all, end-all stat, but it is interesting to see that. The Cubs are like plus 24, and they're 7.5 games behind a team that is like minus 12. In other words, the Reds...
That Reds team has been phenomenal.
They have been
recently,
lately. I think they're basically catching up in that plus-minus. That's the thing with that. Ellie De Cruz has been... Oh, my goodness. Is that his name? I feel like I didn't add enough.
Ellie De La Cruz.
De La. Okay, I just said
so last night there was an interesting story with him in last night's game against the Nationals. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that, and we can touch on that when we come back. So we'll talk a little baseball. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255, 217-359. 2255. We are back. It is The Drive.
At Flooring Surfaces, we have a lot of hardwood, laminate, tile, and mosaics in stock, and it's all on sale during the summer clearance event. June 29th to July 3rd, you'll find amazing deals on floors. Designer porcelain tiles are 40 to 70% off. Yes, up to 70% off. Hardwood floors at just $249 per square foot. Premium laminate starts at 99 cents. Too many deals to list them all, but if you need new floors, save big at Flooring Surfaces during the summer clearance event, June 29th to July 3rd. Save big on floors during the summer clearance event at Flooring Surfaces. 4 days of low prices on hardwood, laminate, tile, and more. Designer porcelain tiles are 40 to 70% off. Premium hardwood floors start at just $249 per square foot. June 29th to July 3rd, a massive flooring sale that you don't want to miss. Find your perfect floor at the summer clearance event at Flooring Surfaces.
Flooring Surfaces, your first stop. Flooring Surfaces, your first stop.
Illini fans, take the opportunity to head down to Game Day Spirit's Green Street location this summer. Shop their awesome selection of Fighting Illini merchandise. While you're there, shop some of their awesome buy one, get one free t-shirt designs, as well as their Nike section and so much more. With new styles coming in daily, there's sure to be something for every Illini fan. Shop at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Every industry has specialists, like Alan here. He knows radiators.
Radiators. I love them. Don't even talk to me about brakes or fuel lines.
Just radiators.
Radiators.
Sally is a specialist in cakes.
I think pies are an abomination.
Really? Pies?
Yuck.
Then we have Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. You know what they're great at? Appliances. Nothing else. No TVs, no computer printers, no radiators.
Who's got a problem with radiators?
Nobody, Alan, but you can't get one at Dick Van Dyke Appliance World.
Too bad. They're missing out.
I'm Dennis Regan, chairman of Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. All we do is appliances. And when that's all you do it better than anyone else. Our associates on our sales floors know more about them. Our delivery people are better at installing them, and our technicians are better at fixing them. All right here in Central Illinois. Wow!
I can't believe you don't like pies, though.
What do I look like, some kind of a peasant?
No.
Cakes are really the best thing.
Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. When you buy from us, you get the whole
Racing, racing, racing. It's the Hill Tour coming to Farmer City Raceway on Friday night, with the Summer Nationals coming to town with $10,000 to win for the late modifieds and $1,500 to win for the Summit Racing Equipment Modified Nationals. General admission is $25. Hot laps are at 6:30. Friday night lights. Learn more at farmercityracing.com. You'll buy the whole seat, but you only need the edge.
Come celebrate with us. The Blossom Basket Florist has been in business at the same location for the last 70 years. The Bailey family has owned the business for 25 years. Stop by the Urbana store July 11th and 12th, and you can get your free dozen roses and let them say thank you for supporting them. God has blessed them with great customers, and there's no better way to say thank you than with a dozen free roses. Visit them online at blossombasket.com.
You spend half of your life indoors. That's half of your life underneath your roof. Who do you trust to keep you safe and dry underneath it? The name to remember is Roof Doctors. Roof Doctors understands the harsh weather conditions that your roof endures because they're a family and locally owned business. From your community, for your community, the doctors who make the house calls, Roof Doctors, at roofdoctors.com or phone 328-7529. Rest easy under a roof that's been treated by Roof Doctors.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Mike Greenberg. Catch Lon Tay and Derek Piper weekdays from 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
I got questions. Hey, Tommy Kuhl making his professional debut today in the John Deere Classic over in Silvis, Illinois. I've been over to that tournament a couple of times. Not Steve Stricker, but Steve Stricker's won it a few times. Who am I thinking of? D.A. Points from Pekin, former Illini. Went over and did a story on him one time over at the John Deere Classic, a really cool event that's not far from here. And of course, it used to be, maybe still is, the kind of the lead in to the British Open. It used to be they would fly some of the guys over to overseas, essentially, from the Classic to go over there, and that they were trying to encourage more guys to play in the John Deere Classic. Can you effort to see, is the U.S. Open next week? I think that is right, correct? That would be like the 14th. Yeah, I'm almost positive.
I think so.
It usually goes John Deere Classic, then it goes the Open. Did I say U.S. Open? Yeah. I apologize. The Open, which used to be, when I was growing up, it was called the British Open, but now just the Open. They decided they wanted to take the more prominent name, I guess. We're just the Open. Tommy Kuhl off to a good start today, though.
Off to a good start. He birdied his first two holes of the day, did bogey the par 4 fourth, so he's 1 under through 4.
You need to score there. The John Deere Classic has never been a tournament that's won at 7 under. I'll put it that way. You got to be like 28 under to win that thing. So I'm sure the scoreboard reflects it right now.
Well, the leader is 9 under right now.
So 9 times 4 is 36. I don't think they'll get to 36 under, but you get what I'm saying. That has always been a tournament that you can score a lot of birdies on, and I think that is one thing where you need to really keep pounding the birdies and get rid of those bogeys if you're going to do well at the John Deere Classic. Do you see any other Illini that are playing in it? I assume there are.
Nick Hardy is currently tied for 13th, 3 under through 9.
Sweet.
And that's the only one that has popped out to me.
Boy, Nick has just quietly had a pretty good first year on the tour here. Or would this be his second year?
I think it'd be his second.
Yeah, it'd be his second year, I guess. So he is he's really, putting up some things. And then Adrian Armand.
He's been dominating on the Corn Ferry
Deschamps. Yeah, he really has. Of course, he won an event earlier this year, and then I think the next week finished like second.
He went to a playoff again, a 3-man playoff the next week, and finished second.
So, and I know they were recently, while I was in Missouri, they were in Chatham, I believe, over near Springfield, and played in that tournament over there. And I think, I'm not sure how Adrian did in that one, but maybe somebody knows and can send it in. So, really cool to keep watching the Illini out there. Of course, Steve Stricker He's doing so well, obviously, in the senior PGA. I forget what that's called. Champions Tour, I believe. Mike Small played in that, of course, at the U.S. Senior Open. So it's always cool to see all of this occur. And Mike, of course, the first 2 rounds was really in contention, and then kind of fell apart on day 3. But for a guy that, I know he's around the golf course all the time and around golf in general, but for a guy that doesn't necessarily get the number of holes in that the rest of these guys do, to be able to go out and compete on that level is still pretty stinking impressive. So I think that's pretty cool. All right, let me start with the Cubs, just because I'm tired of talking about negative with the Cardinals. But and I know that Cubs are 7.5 back, but why do you think they're able to be positive in the plus minus and yet still be 7.5 back? Is it pitching?
Well, I think.
Well, heck, their pitching though at the top has been unbelievable.
I think the biggest thing really is, I don't necessarily know there's a reason for it, but they've won a lot of like 10-1,
gotcha.
9-1 games just kind of out of the blue, where they kind of get plate 6-7 runs in the first couple innings and just kind of run away with a game. I mean,
that helps.
So I think that's kind of where you run into the flaws of run differential a little bit, where
no doubt
kind of varies that way. The truth of the matter is this Cubs team just isn't all that good.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
The offense just goes quiet way too often. A lot of guys were playing over their heads in April and have really cooled down. And really, the bullpen has been a huge issue.
Yeah.
I mean, they've blown so many games. They blew a 6-0 lead on Monday to the Brewers. I mean, they blew a lead today. It was only a 1-0 lead. But
does your boy Wisdom, has he homered again since May?
Almost, I don't think so. I don't know if he's gotten a hit since May. So his time in Chicago may be coming to a close.
I mean, we were talking about how he was going to possibly set the franchise record in May for number of home runs. Or April, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because he had 9, I think.
I think he had 10 in April.
10.
He's sitting on 14 right now.
Oh, okay. So he's got 4 more since.
And I think like 3 of the 4 came in May, and now it's July.
Well, it's early July.
Yeah.
It's early July. So, no, it's interesting when you see that. All right, when you look at the Cubs rotation, when you look at that rotation and you see at the top what you've got with Steele and also now
Marcus Stroman.
Thank you, Stroman, who they still haven't re-signed. They will need to sign him, and he has publicly stated he'd love to stay in Chicago. So I don't know why you wouldn't sign him. I mean, obviously he's one of the best, what, would you say top 10 pitchers in baseball, in the National League? I mean, I know the numbers this year. But
absolutely. I mean, absolutely this year, and his track record says he's at least in that upper tier.
Would agree. So you've got an upper tier guy that could be your 1, which is something the Cardinals don't have. And then you've got a guy like Steele that is projecting down the road to be a 1. So you basically have a 1 and a 2 right now, which is pretty awesome. And I know Pipes and I talked about it one day when you were gone, and I said I would be upset if I were the Cubs and they didn't try to do something at the deadline. I know you're 7.5 back, but at least you're within shouting distance, whereas the Cardinals are like 12.5 back. So at least you're within shouting distance of the Reds, and I'm not overly scared that the Reds are just never going to lose again. I know they're playing exceptional baseball, and I know they're playing very well this year. And
it's going to be that rookie wall for some of those rookies.
You would think, right?
You'd have to think, right? They're all just smacking the ball. You're going to have to slump at some point.
Would agree. And, of course, you got the Brewers, who are like 2 games out. They're winning right now against the Cubbies in the 8th inning, 5-3. But I would feel like if the Cubs could look ahead to next season, I feel like signing Stroman would be huge. Knowing you've got Steele at number 2, where do you think of the other 3 there? What would you do to address the rest of that rotation going forward, maybe in the immediate with regards to the trade deadline? Do you look for a 3rd guy? And then also in the future, like with regards to next year, what are you doing in that rotation?
I would like to see them add another guy in that upper tier, and really I just think, I've mentioned it before, where I just don't think this Cubs lineup is necessarily ever going to be a top lineup in baseball. And you look at the free agent class and you look at some of the guys available coming up here, you don't, other than Shohei Ohtani, who's going to get $800 million or whatever.
He could
he's
help
gonna
you on
get.
both ends, couldn't
Yeah.
he? He'd be your ace and your hitter in the middle.
That's about the only impact middle of the order bat that is out there, and I don't think the Cubs will be in on that. So I think you have to build your team with your pitching staff and be one of the top pitching staffs in baseball. I think Stroman and Steele, assuming that you can hopefully keep Stroman, I think that is a great 1-2. I think you need a third guy, though, especially because, my goodness, is Jameson Taillon a disaster.
Yeah.
I
and
mean,
who's the guy that I always jinx?
Drew Smiley?
No. Starts with an M or something. Maiesto? No. Who's the... I took him like the over on strikeouts the first time, and then
Wesneski.
Yeah, Wesneski.
Yeah,
okay.
Wesneski. Yeah, and he's young and struggled this year. They have a couple young options. I'd like to get that third proven guy and have a three-headed monster there in that rotation. Where if you can round out the rest of the roster and then ultimately get back to the postseason, you've got a 1-2-3 pitching wins in the playoffs, and if you can build a top-tier rotation in baseball, I think that's the path for the Cubs to get back to contention. I just don't necessarily see them being a top offense in the league at any point here with the guys that they have locked up. They don't really have a big-time Jordan Walker level offensive prospect in the system. I think you have to build it through pitching. I think they still need another guy.
Okay, I'm with you on this. Now, I know that Shohei Ohtani's out there, and I know that the Cubs would have the ability to at least get in that race to try to get in. But let's say for this conversation, let's say that does not happen, that Ohtani...
Yan Gomes just tied the ball game in Milwaukee.
Look at that. We start talking about the Cubbies, and good things are happening. So let's say you don't get Ohtani, and you've already kind of addressed the idea of what you're thinking on the pitching area. In terms of hitting, is it you need to go out and find a first baseman that can really add to this thing and a third baseman, or is Morel a guy that you think could fill kind of that third base spot for the next year or two? What do you think of that? I mean, Morel shows the ability, right? He comes on, he can hit home runs, he's flashy, but is he a guy that you can count on for the next couple of years to be an everyday guy? Do you know what I'm saying?
He absolutely, it's interesting with him. He absolutely is offensively. His ceiling offensively is off the charts, and the power that he has. He doesn't really have a position defensively.
That's the thing.
He's really struggled. They've moved him around. They've played him in center some. They played him at third some. He's been DHing a lot this year, mainly because he struggled defensively. And I think part of that is just youth, and also he hasn't settled into a position.
Right.
He's been asked to play 5 different positions. And so I don't know. I would like to see them give him, especially in the second half of this year, if you fall further down in the standings and it really doesn't look like you're going to make the postseason. I think I'd like to just give him a runway at third base and say improve at third. That's the obvious spot to me for him to make an impact because I love his bat. And this Cubs lineup desperately needs a power bat like him that can hit you 30 homers in a year.
Do you think if Morel would settle into third, you would have what? You'd have Happ
in left, Suzuki in right, Swanson, Horner up the
Swanson.
middle.
That's what I couldn't think of Swanson. Duh. Swanson and Horner up the gut. I mean, and catcher, I don't know,
I do have a young catcher, Miguel Amaya, who's been playing all right here.
Okay.
I think he could be the catcher of the future.
So really, for the Cubbies, not in the intermediate, but in the future, it's getting that number 3 guy in the rotation to where you really have a strong 3 if you can re-sign Stroman. And then also maybe adding that one bat that can play first. I don't know who's out there for that.
I don't know who's out there. I think Jed Hoyer's got to get a little creative here, and I think it's got to come from the trade market.
Okay.
Because now they've sold off the last 2 trade deadlines. Heck, they might just do it this year and really make me mad. It's not out of the question. I totally agree with you, but it's just the way that they've operated here. And so it's possible. So the point being that they have replenished this farm system from when it was completely gutted back in 2019, 2020. They have some depth of younger guys that they can now float out there and say, okay, if this guy becomes available, if Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt become available, now we can be aggressive and get a little creative here to add that guy. I think that's probably where it has to come, because you just look at the free agent class and like you got Matt Chapman who plays third base, but he's not really he's a defensive stud. He's not really a great offensive player. And then a bunch of older guys. Like there's just no one other than Ohtani that jumps off the page as, oh, this is a difference maker in your lineup. So I think it is going to have to be a situation where it comes from an unlikely source, so you find that next star that's available in the trade.
Now, you just said it right there with regards to should the Cardinals break down and tear down in terms of all the way, like Goldschmidt, Arenado, that kind of stuff. Absolutely not, in my opinion. I'm not saying this is just an outlier this year. I know that there's major problems, all right? I'm not just saying like, oh, don't worry, this same team can come back next year and absolutely win the Central Division. I think offensively you would have the chance to do that. Walker will be another year older. Hopefully you'll figure something out with Tyler O'Neill and what the hell he's doing. Are you going to be healthy, or are you going to just trade him and get rid of him? But because of the free agency that you just mentioned, you've got to keep a guy like Paul Goldschmidt, and you've got to obviously keep Arenado. You've got Contreras signed for the long term. Ivan Herrera is actually starting to show a lot of offense in AAA. I know he's now up with the team now. You've got a Paul DeJong that has quietly kind of had a decent season, but I think next year it's time for Mason Wynn, and you let DeJong just move on. I know there's a couple of years of options there. You've got Nolan Gorman, who seems to be kind of coming along. So for the Cardinals, and then, of course, as you mentioned, Jordan Walker out and right, who's become a star and will be a star. I think the Cardinals on the offensive side are fine. You got guys like Tommy Edman and Billy Donovan, and not Billy Donovan.
Brendan.
I say that every time. So you've got an offense that looks to be good, but on the pitching side, you have nobody. I mean, Miles Mikolas and Jordan Montgomery are decent, and I think Montgomery is your best pitcher, but because he is in the last year of his contract, and Jack Flaherty is in the last year of his contract, I think those two guys will be gone. And I really do. I think they will be moved along. I don't know about Tyler O'Neill. It seems like they'll probably dangle him.
So you're okay with them trading those soon-to-be free agent guys? You just don't want to go full tear-down mode and have Paul Goldschmidt.
That's correct. The one I would try to keep right now is Jordan Montgomery. I would absolutely try to sign him to a long-term deal, a 3-4 year deal. I mean, ever since he's gotten here, he's shown that he has the ability. He was losing one-run games all year earlier this year. So I would definitely try to sign him. I would be gone with Jack Flaherty. That just hasn't worked. And he walks too many. He leads the league, I think, in walks. I know he threw well the last time out, but we keep playing this game with Flaherty, and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Obviously, Wainwright will be gone. You look at guys like Steven Matz, he's been a waste. Dakota Hudson comes back, looks good for one, then he comes out, walks 3, which was essentially the issue he had before he got hurt. So move along with Dakota, even though I've always been a Dakota Hudson fan. And, Matthew Liberatore looks like he's overmatched in the big leagues, so I don't know when he'll ever figure that out, but obviously they'll send him back to Memphis now to try to figure that out. They've got a couple of guys in the minors like Graphico and Tink Hintz and guys like this, but I don't think they're ready. So essentially, you have to look at next year like you are coming in with, what? On the pitching side, Miles Mikolas? Who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting somebody?
I don't think you are.
I mean, it's just it is just horrible how this. I don't know. I don't know how you've gotten yourself into this position, and I don't know if the Cardinals. Obviously, they need an ace. They need an absolute ace, and I don't know what pitching is available in terms of free agency.
It's a pretty deep class.
Is it? Okay, well, they're good.
I know off the top of my head, I know Julio Urias from the Dodgers is a free agent. Of course, the Brewers just took the lead in the bottom of the 8th.
Oh, my goodness.
Cubs bullpen strikes again,
Caratini.
folks. Former Cub.
I was going to say, isn't he a former Cubby? Well,
of course.
So say a couple of these other names that are available.
Urias comes to mind. I know Aaron Nola from the Phillies is a free agent. He's really struggled this year. Stroman will be a free agent, assuming the Cubs don't lock him up before the season's over, which it doesn't look like they're going to.
If you're the Cardinals, you have to jump on that.
Yeah, I'll just say this right now. If the Cubs don't re-sign Stroman and then he signs with the St. Louis Cardinals in the offseason, I might be a free agent in terms of fandom.
There's been too much of the Cubs-Cardinals back to John Lackey and all of this. There's been
there has Jason Hayward, Dexter Fowler.
It never used to be this way. I know back in Brock and
Contreras.
Brolio and all that stuff, but man, for a while you just didn't really have that happening, and now all of a sudden it seems like Cardinals are becoming Cubs and Cubs are becoming Cardinals, and it's just happening too much. It's like it's not allowed.
Giolito is a free agent from the White Sox.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And then the next couple guys that list are Stroman and Montgomery.
Okay. Well,
Blake Snell.
I would be fine with Montgomery, and I would be fine with Urias or who's the other one? Oh, Giolito. I think you've got to go get at least two of those guys. And then you've got to get like a third option. Or maybe a fourth.
Well, right. I mean, you got to.
So two guys, then Michaelis, and then
bring
go
in
get
a whole new rotation next year,
really
basically.
Do. Unless you think you've got guys underneath that are going to be able to come up. You know, they tried to make Zach Thompson a starter in the minors, and that hasn't worked. So it looks like he's more for the bullpen. So, yeah, at least there's a little bit of some pitching out there, but of course everybody needs pitching. So it's going to be interesting. And, of course, the trade deadline, maybe a guy like Flaherty, maybe a guy like Montgomery, maybe a guy like Tyler O'Neill is able to fetch you a guy that can be maybe a bottom of the rotation 4 or 5 guy next season as well. So we'll see. I think it's going to be an interesting trade deadline coming up at the end of this month. We talk about how boring it is to be fans of the Cardinals and Cubs right now and the White Sox because they just are not doing anything. How many out of the Sox? Are they still like within 5 games?
Yeah, that division is terrible.
That's the amazing
They are
part.
7.5 back
of
the Twins, who are 45 and 43.
All right, well, that's probably enough of that.
Yeah, it's awful baseball all the way around.
Listen, again, it's been horrible to watch, but the trade deadline could be interesting. And I'm anxious to see what the Cubbies do with Marcus Stroman, because I think he's a guy that a lot of teams would want to sign, including the Cardinals, if the Cubbies don't. So we'll see. We'll see what happens as we roll along. All right, we may talk to Derek Piper. Merez Johnson, they're tipping off with, was it Mean Streets?
Mean Streets.
Okay, down to the Peach Jam. So we're going to try to catch Derek maybe at halftime to where we can visit with him next hour.
He's saying his service down there is not very good in that crowded Peach Jam gym, but we'll do our best.
Okay, well, if we get him on and it sounds like crap, then we'll just take him right back off. We'll do that. All right, let's do this. We got more to do. If you want to weigh in, 359-2255, 217-359-2259. Back for hour 2. It is The Drive.
By now, you've all heard the expression, when you turn the key and the car won't run, call 367-9481 for PDR Automotive. They are what's best for your truck or car. They are PDR. But who are they? They, the PDR staff, understand that a name is only as good as the people that represent it. The PDR staff has more than 335 years of combined automotive experience. Several employees now on staff for more than 25 years. PDR, more than just a name. Family owned and operated, now celebrating over 50 years in business.
Ready for an exciting change? At Merle Norman, we can take your look from ordinary to extraordinary in a matter of minutes. Our innovative skincare, perfectly matched foundations, and on-trend colors will make a difference that's written all over your face. Come in and see what a makeover can do. We'll help select the products that are just right for you, and we'll teach you tips that the pros know about applying your most flattering shades. Ask for your free express makeover today, calling 217-359-8100, or visit 706 West Market View Drive in Champaign.
Urbana's Market at the Square has been cultivating a vibrant scene in CU since 1979. Get to know your farmers bringing locally harvested honey, crafts, jewelry, art, fresh cut flowers, plus produce including fresh leafy greens and root vegetables, fresh baked treats, and a wide selection of proteins. Going on now, every Saturday, 7 a.m. till noon, rain or shine at Illinois and Vine, it's Urbana Market at the Square. Find Urbana Market on Facebook or urbanamarket.org.
BMW, Buick, GMC, Honda, and Subaru. Welcome to Sarah Champagne. We can handle all your car repairs on site, including paintless dent repair, bumpers, windshields, everything in between. We have an amazing selection of new or pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Shop from home and buy online or reserve your vehicle before it hits our website or dealership. Sarah Champagne is home of the Sarah One Price Promise, delivering an honest and transparent buying experience. Hurry in or shop online at sarahchampagne.com.
Experience food, drinks, and fun at the grand reopening of Champaign's favorite sports bar, Pia's. Whether you're up for their famous Slugger Burger, never-ending nachos, having a drink with your friends, or watching your favorite sports team, Pia's has you covered. After the forced renovation undergone on the local pub, it's the perfect time to celebrate a return to normal and bring the community together. Don't miss the grand reopening at Pia's, 1609 West Springfield Avenue in Champaign.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
A clash of tech titans on Lisa Brady, Fox News. Twitter threatening legal action just one day after Meta launched new competition with its Threads platform. Twitter argues the app is using its trade secrets.
I've tried it out, and admittedly, Threads is very similar to Twitter in look and feel. You've got those short text-based posts, but it also links to your Instagram. So I was actually able to keep my same username and follow the same folks that I do with just one click. And it's why analysts are calling this a potential Twitter killer.
Fox Business's Kelly O'Grady. Threads initially drawing about 30 million signups. The Pentagon not confirming reports that the U.S. plans to give cluster munitions to Ukraine.
That is something that is under consideration. I will say that we have multiple variants of DPICMs in our stocks.
Pentagon spokesman Brigadier General Pat Ryder suggesting the focus would be on versions less likely to lead to civilian casualties, also emphasizing the importance of unity among NATO allies. The Secret Service says no suspect identified yet as they run fingerprint and DNA tests on a container of cocaine found in a lower lobby area of the West Wing Sunday. Investigators also reviewing cameras and access logs.
Yesterday, White House officials would not say whether the working theory is that a guest brought the drugs in, but they emphasized many times it was discovered in an area heavily trafficked by visitors. The incident highlights concerns that a more dangerous substance like anthrax potentially could slip through here.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. Republicans in Congress demanding a briefing on possible security gaps. President Biden stays the course.
Our plan is working.
At a plant in South Carolina, claiming private manufacturing investment as a Bidenomics success story.
And one of the things I'm proudest of is working everywhere, not just in the coast and big cities like previous recoveries.
He's also criticizing efforts to undo his agenda while Republicans blame him for Americans' struggles with high prices. America is listening to Fox News.
The Dell Technologies Black Friday in July event starts now with limited quantity deals on top business PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Plus, get special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
When I can't sleep, my mind just races. I think about work, the kids, but I don't think about taking melatonin because I'm afraid I'll feel groggy in the morning.
ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies has an optimal dose of melatonin for no next day grogginess, so you can fall asleep naturally and wake up feeling refreshed. ZzzQuil Pure Z's Gummies for better sleep like never before. And try Pure Z Sleep plus Next Day Energy with melatonin plus extended release B vitamins.
The head of the UN is accusing Israel of using excessive force in its largest military operation in 2 decades in the West Bank. The 2-day raids on a refugee camp were deadly. Israel has said it was targeting militants. What's believed to be the first of its kind law on artificial intelligence is now in effect in New York.
There are artificial intelligence tools to go through job applications and resumes, flagging which one should be considered, rejecting the rest. A New York City law passed in 2021, now enforceable, requires employers and employment agencies using those tools to have the software audited for bias for or against any particular groups of people or face fines. The law applies to AI decisions on promotions as well and requires the use of those tools to be disclosed to applicants. Opponents say it's just another burdensome business regulation. In New York, Chris Foster, Fox News.
For most humans, this sounds like an impossible mission.
Tom Cruise says he hopes to keep making Mission Impossible films until he's 80, praising Harrison Ford for the release of his 5th Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Speaking to the Sydney Morning Herald at the Australian premiere of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Cruise, who turned 61 years old this week, calls 80-year-old Ford a legend, explaining, "I hope to be still going. I've got 20 years to catch up with him." Paramount's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 releases July 12th. Cruise goes on to say it features some of his most dangerous stunt work yet.
Fox's Christian Goodwin. Wall Street gets rattled by the latest snapshots of the economy, including stronger private sector hiring than expected. The government's June jobs report comes out tomorrow. The Dow dropping 366 points today, but that was off session lows. Still, the Dow slipping back under 34K. And Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Eastern Illinois. Champaign-Urbana have Saturday. Nice to have some degree of rainfall over some parts of the area. Yesterday afternoon and evening time, and nothing real widespread in the severe weather sense. That sure helps on out. And helping out here for the foreseeable future, at least for the next couple of 2 or 3 weeks, cooler air and increased shower activity across the area, too. We'll see that scheduled for the weekend. Outside of a sprinkle early on this morning, a partly sunny day expected to develop, and an afternoon temperature pretty pleasant at 81 for the time of year. Light west-northwest wind. Nice tonight, down to 59. Cooler. And for the day tomorrow, sunshine and pleasant. Lower afternoon humidity at 82. Humidity climbs a wee bit, and there'll be some shower activity around. Maybe an afternoon thunderstorm for Saturday and Sunday, but dry hours as well. 79 Saturday, 83 on Sunday. A couple of more showers around each day for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. High temperatures on the cooler side of average at around 80 degrees. For Steve H.A. Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Soldier.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check. I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage. I'm kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
These trophy presentations aren't over.
I didn't come here to go 5-7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now. I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielma.
You no longer salute to yourself.
What?
We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's the Dry.
Smack Dogs.
Thunderstruck. Yeah, Thunderstruck.
Oh boy, it is not good news from Wrigley.
AmFam Field in Milwaukee.
Oh, I'm sorry, they're in Milwaukee. I've been. Have you ever been?
No. I want to, though.
It's pretty cool. Kind of out in the middle of... I wouldn't say out in the middle of nowhere. It's a little bit from downtown. It's a cool little place. Kind of walked around, went up to the top level and looked. It's pretty spacious there at, what is it, AmFam?
Yeah, it used to be Miller Park. Now it's American Family Field.
There you go. We should go through all of the fields, stadiums, all that, and just say, all right, what's your favorite of the fields? Now, that's not fair to the current sponsor who's spending a lot of money for that, but it would be interesting to because I know people still call certain places.
Right.
Well, I mean, the perfect example is the Assembly Hall.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people still call it the Assembly Hall and not State Farm Center. So I'm sure a lot of people in Milwaukee still say Miller Park. I'm sure a lot of people in St. Louis would have said Busch Stadium had they not named it Busch Stadium. what is this, 3 or 2 or whatever the heck it is. So it's interesting stuff. So, all right, I'm going to have you let us know about Tommy Kuhl and Nick Hardy. They are playing in the PGA event, the John Deere Classic over in Silvis, Illinois today. So we'll keep you updated on that. I know a story broke today about tailgating at Illinois football, and it says in the headlines, Grange Grove football tailgating reservations now open for 2023. And essentially what has happened is because of the tremendous demand and popularity of tailgating in Grange Grove, I like to feel like I'm a little bit of that. Like I'm always pushing tailgating, so I have to feel like I'd like to feel like I'm a little bit of that, like pushing people to tailgate. It's great, man. Get with your friends. Tyler Underwood just said it last hour. He's like, come on, Lon. There's nothing better than a home football Saturday where you can go over, the weather's nice, you got friends and family everywhere, you're seeing friends everywhere you walk. I mean, literally, you go to the porta potties, you run into 5 people. You walk the other way to go tell somebody something, and you run into 5 people. It's awesome, man. It's just a great time. But they're talking about how the University of Illinois Athletics excited to announce the introduction of a new service that will enhance the game day experience for all fans. So fans will be required this year to reserve tailgate spaces in advance, ensuring a safe and organized environment for all attendees. Now, I don't know, and by the way, the reservations are free, so it's not like you're having to pay for it, but I don't know if that's just in Grange Grove or if that also means that's in Lot 31, Lot 32, some of the other lots, on the other side, or by by State Farm Center, over by the baseball field and softball diamonds. I don't know. I don't know what that means, if that means just Grange Grove, but I know, for instance, in our lot, we've essentially had the same spot, not me, but Brenda Ludwig and a lot of the people from the Oakwood area have had this same spot forever. And we've always tailgated there, and the people right next to us have been there forever. The people across from us have been there forever. The people behind us have been there forever. I mean, it's just everybody kind of understands when you get there. Now, we get there early, 6:45. As soon as they let you in, essentially, we're heading to that spot. And for the most part, as long as it's not a Michigan fan trying to invade or a Wisconsin or an Iowa fan trying to invade, which I'll be honest with, we haven't had any problems with. But
not even Michigan fans.
No,
wow.
we haven't. Now, not in the time that I've been doing it. Now, maybe there's some war stories in the past. But for the most part, all the Illinois people understand where all the rest of the Illinois people tailgate. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we all kind of look out for each other. We all kind of understand where everybody is. I mean, it's simple to the point of, oh, crap, we forgot to bring plates. And so we'll go over to the next tailgate. Like, you guys have extra plates? Sure, we got extra plates. I mean, it's just a big family out there. Like Brett Bielema preaches for his football program in terms of the family. So I don't know if this means just Grange Grove, or I don't know if that means everywhere. So I just sent a text to our group and said, hey, we might want to check on this to make sure, because, I mean, we got our own little tree there that we know exactly where it's at. It's funny how you become you feel like you bought that land.
Yep.
You can imagine back in the day, right, when land was being purchased in the United States, how you're like, no, this was my land. I was on it first, et cetera, how all that worked. I mean, we are on this one little lot, and we were like, no, like, we pee here, which we actually don't. But it's like, no, you can't have this lot. This is our lot. So it'll be interesting to see. And I know I've mentioned, of course, I can only speak from my personal, the way it works with my season tickets is that I used to just pay $100. I'd get a spot because I'd done it long enough, build up enough points. I'd get a spot in lot 32 there, which I can park right next to lot 31. Well, because we don't want to have 18 different cars in that spot. Well, now I had to increase that from 100 to 250, which I gladly did. But that just shows you that there's a lot of people now interested that are buying season tickets, et cetera. So, hey, I'm excited. Count me in. I don't mind spending a little extra money to see some more people in the Memorial Stadium and pulling for this Illini team, because I'm ready, man.
We're getting close.
Did you buy your tickets?
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
Which means now you're in line for basketball tickets.
That's right.
Because if you don't buy football, you don't get first choice, right, for basketball.
That's right.
Now, how does it work with the Crush? Because you're in the Crush. You buy your student seats, and then you are part of the Crush, correct?
Correct.
Do you have to pay to be part of the Crush, or how does that work?
You just have to get the ticket. So if you remember last year, I think I was here.
Yeah, there were 30 times where I was going to
guys.
have you join us from the Orange Crush line, and you're like, well, it's just not going to work.
I did it. I did do it. I did do it at
I'm
what
kidding.
game was that? That was Michigan.
You did. You finally joined us.
But when I was saying it, I think I was here when that window opened
that's
where
right.
the tickets went on sale at like 5 o'clock, and then they sold out in 36 minutes. You just got to be on time there and get those tickets to get your spot. But I don't know how much that's going to change now because the football ticket holders get first priority apparently.
That will be interesting, and I think that makes sense.
Yeah, it should.
I mean, it's not – listen, I understand that $100 is not – that's not cheap for a college student. I get it, but how much are your football tickets?
Oh, they're like
80?
$85 maybe.
Okay. So to guarantee your basketball tickets, which how much do those cost you?
And those are
150?
only like 120 or something.
Okay.
I'll get exact numbers on those.
So essentially, I mean, you're walking out the door at about $200 for season tickets to both football and basketball. I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
It's a heck of a deal.
That's a pretty good deal, especially knowing that you've got a borderline top 25 basketball program and a borderline top, 35 football program? Would you say 35, 40 maybe? Top 40 if you're Illinois football with a chance to kind of sneak? I mean, what was last year? They got as high as what?
Last year they got into the top 20 at one point.
That's right. I was trying to remember. Were they 18th?
I think that might have been their
Sounds
peak.
right.
Let me effort that.
But it'll be interesting to see. So, I mean, essentially you've got two really good programs plus, and let's don't forget the women's basketball program, which is doing some unbelievable stuff, and they're not going anywhere. And I did read, by the way, that Illinois is only traveling to Iowa in women's basketball. So Caitlin Clark, who is that's like a generational player that you want to see in Big Ten basketball for sure. They came last year to Illinois, and you beat them. You beat Caitlin Clark. You think about that.
That is now that you look back on that and that Iowa team getting all the way to the
goodness
title game, that was an unbelievable win for Illinois.
There were a couple of things that occurred last year early in the women's program, in the women's schedule, where they went to overtime at Indiana. And Indiana at the time was considered to be the team to win the Big Ten. They were ranked in the top, I think, 10. And Shauna Green's program went to overtime in Bloomington. And, you kind of were like, well, hold on a second. You got to be pretty good to do that, right? So maybe there will be some improvements this year. And then just out of nowhere, they just upset Iowa. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, well, they upset Iowa. Well, I'll be transparent. I didn't realize at the time how good Iowa was, nor did I have any indication of how good Caitlin Clark was. And now that I've seen her, that is must-see. Like, I am literally upset that they are not coming to Champaign this year, the Iowa women's basketball team, because I would be at that game in a heartbeat.
Well, she would probably be the marquee athlete coming to Illinois across all sports next year.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
She's a bigger star than any of the Big Ten guys that are coming in.
Yep.
On the men's side.
Who's the last, basketball-wise, who's the last must-see guy to come into Champaign? Now, this is going to require us to think a little bit.
Yeah,
because
my age handicaps me a little bit here.
Now, obviously, Michigan this year had basically almost two top 10 draft picks with Bufkin and Jet, right? Jet Howard. But I didn't look at Kobe, is it Kobe Bufkin? I didn't look at him and be like, oh my God. Is Zach Edey maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, he was player of the year.
If you want to qualify it by, college success or biggest star in terms of what they went on to do in the pros or how high they got drafted, because
I'm trying to think.
Then you might have to go way back to Chris Paul in 05.
Well, right.
I don't, in terms of NBA success. But Zach Edey was the National Player of the Year and probably will be again.
I agree. I think that's a good question, for everybody. Football and basketball. You see Caitlin Clark came in last year. Now, again, not playing here next year. Illinois only goes to Iowa. But if she was coming here, she would be the biggest star. I think you're spot on. The biggest star of any sport to come in to play at the University of Illinois as an opponent. And so it'd be interesting to think about, like, football-wise last year. You had, was Michigan, did we? No, that
Michigan was in Ann Arbor.
That was in Ann Arbor.
The Big Ten West doesn't have a whole lot of must-see guys because when you think about football and must-see guys, you think of the skill positions, and the Big Ten West.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Kind of lacks in that category.
I mean, like next year, if you were hosting USC, you'd be able to see Caleb Williams or maybe Bronny.
Yeah,
right.
Good point.
They're
going to miss those guys by a year.
Oh yeah, they'll miss them by a year. That's right. A 217 said, best recent player to come here has to be that has had pro success is the guard from Arizona, Matherin. He was good. He was really good. Todd and Sal both said Shaq back in the day when LSU came to town. That's when Rennie Clemens dunked on him, right? That's the thing. Steven said at Clemson, when I was a student, we'd get into all sporting events free. The tickets will get you close to the field or court in their student section. So, in other words, you could walk in free, but if you bought tickets, maybe you got closer. Is that what you mean, Steven? I'm sorry, yeah. I mean, listen, I don't mind. Look, it's a good problem to have when your programs are winning. I'll put it that way. It's a good problem to have to where, like, and again, I just take my situation as the example that all of a sudden now I got to pay a little extra money to park where I want to park because there's more people now willing to do that. And that's a good problem to have because in the last 5 years ago, they probably were just basically saying, Lon, just, I don't know, what do you got, $20? Just give me 20, you can pay, which I'm kidding. But, of course, I usually bring breakfast to my guy when I go into the lot at like 6:45 a.m. I usually bring him a hot breakfast. And that helps because he kind of lets me in.
Yeah, that's how you get on his good side.
No doubt. You got to go. All right, Steven said all tickets were free for student section. All right. But I kind of understand with regards to that, and I hope, or maybe this changes, but obviously the student tickets for basketball are a lot more popular than they are for football. So I understand what they're doing here. It's twofold. Number one, they're saying we want to get more people and more students into Memorial Stadium because this team and this program are elevating. So because of that, we're now making a rule that says, all right, we're going to keep the tickets affordable. However, if you also want these basketball tickets, you're not assured of getting them if you don't buy a ticket for the football. So, I mean, there might be some people that are like, I'm not going to the football games, but I'll spend $80 just to do it. You know, maybe the parents come down one weekend, or I don't know. I mean, I don't think I interrupted you, but I didn't let you finish in terms of the Orange Crush. So you buy your season tickets, and then what separates you from another student that's not an Orange Crush? Can anybody be an Orange Crush?
Well, I mean, there's only a limited number of tickets that are available. I think it's 3,000.
Okay.
And
or is it because you know Derek Piper? They're like, well, come on, you get to be an Orange Crush.
I haven't pulled that card yet.
Oh, you haven't pulled it?
Maybe I should.
That'd be big, man. That would be big.
If I miss out on that time slot, if I'm not quick enough when they sell out in 25 minutes or whatever, I'll
have to use the pipe.
Make some calls.
Hey, well, by the way, speaking of tickets, we're going to have Jason Hegemeyer, who runs the ticket office essentially from the University of Illinois. Going to have him on tomorrow afternoon. By the way, Pipes, because of the bad service and the idea that Merez Johnson is playing right now, we decided to just push that till tomorrow. So we're going to talk to Derek tomorrow, so have a better understanding of how Merez is doing. It'd be nice to kind of get an idea of how Merez is playing in this game, but maybe that's a little fanatical. I mean, it's a summer league game in Georgia.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some updates, but it's going on right now. I know Piper texted us at like 3:45 and said it's starting in 10 minutes, so it only started about a half hour ago.
It's on, baby.
We'll see how he plays, but if yesterday's any indication, he's probably having a good time out there. He's a stud.
U of I Atlantic Lake text line. Skylar says maybe Evan Turner, who came in, of course, played for Ohio State, of course, from Illinois, one of those guys, so I don't try to bring him up. But he went on to a pretty good career in the NBA. Joe mentioned Dansby Swanson, who came along with who was the pitcher? Carson Fulmer.
Yep.
They both came and played against Dan Hartleb's squad in the Super Regional back in the day. I don't remember the year. 14, 15?
I think it was 15.
15. Those are all like that. That's like literally almost 10 years ago.
I know.
It's like, holy crap. Ezekiel Elliott. Nice one, Maxwell.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. Came here with Ohio State. So, obviously, there's been some...
Yeah, it's harder to think of the football guys.
I know, because there's so many. And then you don't know if that year they played. I'm sure
Right.
Drew Brees probably played here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's guys like that have played here. But, well, of course, Aaron Rodgers played here.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers wanted to come here. Now, in defense of Ron Turner and the Illini, nobody else wanted him either, because only a junior college essentially took him, and then he ended up going to Cal, and then he turned out to be an absolute stud. But Aaron Rodgers kind of been behind the eight ball his whole career, hasn't he? He's kind of had to prove himself his whole career.
Yeah, he has.
I kind of see why he's a little bit smug. I see that.
Yeah, I mean,
not that he should be entitled and feel like I'm the best quarterback in the country. Why is nobody recruiting me out of high school? Obviously, nobody thought he was that good except for a JUCO, and that coach is probably sitting there going, yeah, I made Aaron Rodgers, by the way. Are you the guy that recruited Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. But then,
you got to go follow Brett Favre in Green Bay.
Well, then he sits in the green room forever until finally Green Bay selects him. And so he's got a chip on his shoulder when it comes to college. And then, there's the famed story, which is true, about him standing at Memorial Stadium with the national anthem. And he's like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I literally wanted to come to Illinois. Like, I told them I want to come to Illinois. I think he had camped here. And so, gosh, that's just hard to process that you could have had Aaron Rodgers. Of course, he had a pretty good career, obviously. He was a first-round draft pick.
How would the opinions of the Illini/Bears fans have changed if Aaron Rodgers had come to Illinois and won a Big Ten championship or something along those lines here at Illinois, and then still was the guy he is on the Packers? It's not going to change a lot because at some point.
No. I think all Illinois fans, if he would have been an Illini and then dominated for the Packers, I think there'd still be a pride factor that he was one of ours or one of yours. You're an Illini. I'm a Saluki. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it would, because it'd be an interesting dynamic. Mm-hmm. You'd have this Hall of Fame quarterback coming out of Illinois, but then let's just say he has the same career going 22-5 against the Bears with the Packers.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd be interested to get a guy like Pipes' opinion on that of what how his view might have changed.
That is interesting. Now, of course, there's a lot of Bears fans that aren't Illinois fans.
Yeah, sure.
So Maxwell also brings up Mitch Trubisky. Came in and beat Illinois. Oladipo. I was thinking they played Trubisky at North Carolina, but I guess that game was here.
I think he did come here, and then they thumped us.
Yeah, that was I was in Chicago at my brother's condo, and everybody went out, and I told my brother, I said, hey, I will meet you guys. I'm going to watch some of this Illini game. And normally Lance would watch an Illini game, but he had to go for some reason, and I'm like, I will meet you there. But I want to watch some of this. And then, of course, they get up big, and I'm like, okay, well, that was the end of that, and I'm off to the bars. Oladipo is another, a 217 said. Good call. And then we get the halftime. Must be halftime at Peach Jams.
I think it is halftime of the Main Streets game.
All right. I think that's interesting. So everybody keep thinking Caitlin Clark will not come here this season, unfortunately, because Illinois only plays at Iowa in women's basketball. But if she did, she would be a huge star coming in. And it's interesting to think back to who are some of the stars that ended up playing at Illinois. I hate to say the name Eric Gordon, but he had a pretty good career.
Yeah.
Obviously there's, back in the 80s, and there's been some really good basketball players that have gone on to do big things in the NBA. But, I'm trying to think, who are some of the best NBA players ever? Did they play here? Did Bill Walton? No, not Bill Walton, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I don't think he ever played here.
No.
Did Larry Bird play here? I don't think so. Even though he was at Indiana State. He was at Indiana at first, and then he and Knight couldn't get along. He's like, I'm not putting up with you. I'm trying to think. Magic Johnson. He played here.
That's right.
So Magic played here. I don't think Jordan played here.
No. Unless they played UNC at some point.
I don't think they
so.
did during that time. So, yeah, it's just kind of cool to think or maybe who did you see? Who is someone you saw in person, whether it be Memorial Stadium or then Assembly Hall or maybe on the baseball field that you saw that you remember that could be the big star. Randy, I know Google says Aaron Rodgers turned down Illinois, but I swear there's a story that he basically said, I want to come to Illinois. I think what happened is he turned down Illinois after JUCO is probably the story. But out of high school, he wanted to come to Illinois because he had camped here in high school, and then nobody wanted him, so he ended up going to a JUCO, and then he went to Cal. So I'm guessing Illinois tried to get back involved, and he said no to them. That'd be my guess. That would be my guess. Kyle is efforting this, and I'm going to let him while I take a break. And we'll try to get to the bottom line of that. So Joe said, yeah, Desmond Howard. Did he leave the Heisman pose at Memorial Stadium in the end zone? That's not good. That wasn't the first time he did it, right? That wasn't the famous one you always see, or maybe it was. Maybe he did it more than once.
Couldn't have been.
I mean, obviously he probably did it more than once. So, yeah, keep them coming. 359-2255, U of I, Illini Link text line. Got to catch a break. We're back. It's The Drive.
Racing, racing, racing. It's the Hill Tour coming to Farmer City Raceway on Friday night with the Summer Nationals coming to town with $10,000 to win for the late modifieds and $1,500 to win for the Summit Racing Equipment Modified Nationals. General admission is $25. Hot laps are at 6:30. Friday night lights. Learn more at farmercityracing.com. You'll buy the whole seat, but you only need the edge.
Illini fans, stock up on great Illini gear this summer at the official fan store of the Fighting Illini, Game Day Spirit. Their famous buy one, get one free shirt selection is perfect for summer and has some great new designs. Shop their line of polos and other business casual apparel from great brands like Nike, Cutter & Buck, Tommy Bahama, and more. Refresh your wardrobe this summer at Game Day Spirit, located at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Ready for an exciting change? At Merle Norman, we can take your look from ordinary to extraordinary in a matter of minutes. Our innovative skincare, perfectly matched foundations, and on-trend colors will make a difference that's written all over your face. Come in and see what a makeover can do. We'll help select the products that are just right for you, and we'll teach you tips that the pros know about applying your most flattering shades. Ask for your free express makeover today, calling 217-359-8100, or visit 706 West Market View Drive in Champaign.
Hi, I'm Tyler Weaver, president of Carpet Weavers Flooring and Furniture Gallery. It's time to come home to Carpet Weavers. We don't want you to just like your new floors. We want you to love them. From waterproof floors and carpet to furnitures and design advice, we've got a team of experts on your side. We'll get you the best price and the best quality products. And complete your home with furniture and accessories. Buy it all with free financing too. Come home to Carpet Weavers, where floors, furniture, and family meet.
Let Max Twin City Recycling pay you for your junk metal items. As the weather begins to heat up, now is a great time to put cash in your pocket for the steel, copper, brass, and aluminum items you've been meaning to get rid of. We've recently added a large concrete pad to make unloading quicker and cleaner for our customers. Visit us on North Lincoln Avenue, just north of I-74, or at maxrecycling.com.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
If you're looking for a pre-owned car, truck, or van, look no further than Sarah Champagne. You know them for their 5 incredible vehicle brands, the BMW, Honda, Subaru, Buick, and GMC. But did you know they also have over 100 used cars, trucks, and vans in stock right now? And at Sarah Champagne, they will take care of you. You can trust them. And prices begin at under $2,000. Stop by Sarah Champagne. They're at Burwash and Savoy, or go online, sarahchampagne.com. That's Sarah, SERRA, champagne.com.
Want unbeatable prices on your next furniture purchase, but also seeking that local hometown feel? Look no further than Kelsey Furniture in Tuscola. Customers rave about their friendly, established staff, as well as their great selection, amazing prices, and second-to-none delivery service. They're a third-generation local business, and they've always got your best interests at heart. Find the look you love for less. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, but always available online at kelseyfurniture.com. That's kelseyfurniture.com.
If you need a new business sign or signage for your golf outing, we can do it and help you get noticed. Hi, this is Kirk Lehman, owner of Aftershock Decals and Design, and we can produce any kind of signage you want with our graphic design team. You want a custom design? We are here for you, and we are easy to work with, I promise. So visit us at AftershockDD.com to get a quote and get noticed. That's AftershockDD.com. Get noticed.
Hi, Ellen Hook here, owner of your local Ashley. Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale is happening now. Don't miss out on instant savings with our Buy More, Save More event happening in store. And as a special thank you to our community heroes, all veterans and active military will receive 10% off their purchase. Plus, we offer special financing options for every budget. These 4th of July furniture and mattress deals are only available for a limited time. Visit your local Ashley store to shop and save today. Only at Ashley.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
All right, Hook, we're reaching into some desperation here on this one. Kyle Eldred pitched for Iowa. He's from Iowa. He's from Ankeny, I believe, Iowa, because my oldest son played a tournament there one time, and I always like reading about towns. I think it's pretty cool to see the history of towns, and I believe Ankeny is the home of Kyle Eldred. So there you go. He beaned Kevin O'Connor, I guess, on the Illini. John said Dick Butkus. It's a good call. I mean, Red Grange did basically start the NFL, or help start the NFL. Right. So, this year, Michigan comes to town in football. And am I right in that, what would it be? Would it be the 100?
Does Michigan come to town?
Do they come to town?
I don't think so.
Don't you look at me like that?
I don't think they do.
Okay, maybe
I think it might be next year.
Well, somebody's coming to town, and it's like it'll be like the 100th anniversary of the opening of Memorial Stadium. Can you Google the Red Grange game when he ran for like 4 touchdowns against Michigan, or 38 touchdowns against Michigan, or that was the opening of Memorial Stadium? It seemed to be that was in 23, right?
Yes.
And I'm trying to think. It seems
24.
Like, 24. Okay. So I think the article I'd read is that it's nearly the 100-year anniversary. Well, maybe that'll be that Michigan comes next year. Maybe that's what it is.
Game. Yes.
Okay. And it'll be the 100th anniversary of the opening of Memorial Stadium in the Red Grange game when he ran all over Michigan. So Michigan, 100 years later, will finally be able to get a little revenge on Illinois, but let's hope that doesn't happen, obviously. All right, I hate to do this, but we're like running out of time because the Cardinals start early today, and I'd forgotten all about that. Really appreciate Tyler Underwood, who joined us off the top of the show. What did you take from that interview with Tyler that was pretty interesting? I thought it was neat that he really thanked the NCAA for allowing now other assistant coaches to be able to kind of get their voices heard more, because now they'll do more on in-game, on-court coaching, which in the past he could not do. I thought that was pretty interesting that he said that it's really going to help kind of speed along the process of these guys becoming head coaches someday.
Yeah, I think it is really cool because when you think about the coaching profession, it takes so long. It's such a long process to work your way up the ladder, where you start as graduate assistant, and then maybe you're doing video stuff, or then all of a sudden you got to wait 10 to 15 years. Maybe you can get an assistant job, and then it's such a long process that the NCAA allowing 5 spots now on each staff and expanding it, I think will help all kinds of coaches kind of get their foot in the door a little bit earlier. And I think Tyler Underwood, honestly, I know a lot of people saw the reaction like, oh, it's Brad's hiring his son here.
You're right.
He's been in this program for a long time, and he's been part of 2 winning teams here the last 2 years, a big part of them behind the scenes, the title that you don't think about as much in terms of the director of recruiting and scouting and all the work that he's done. I think he's more than qualified. I think he's going to do a heck of a job, and he clearly knows so much about the game, as you can tell on his interviews.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a little bit of a slippery slope. Let's be honest. It's a little bit of a slippery slope. We saw that with Lovie Smith. And
that one I think is a little different situation than this one.
But you see it, and I totally understand. I totally understand where a fan could say, well, now, wait a minute. And that is an easy target if you're not doing well. That's an easy target to say, well, all right, maybe instead of hiring your son, you go out and try to find. I think Tyler Underwood has definitely earned his medal. He played college basketball. He's been a coach, at the lower level, if you will, of college basketball for a long time, and he's following in the footsteps of Brad. So I don't mind this one. But I'm glad you brought that up, because at the time when I read that with he and Zach Hamer, I'm like, I could see how some people might look at that and think, oh, well, isn't that neat? Isn't that nice? Because I'm sure that comes with a pretty good salary. So, but we'll see. I think Tyler Underwood is a kid that has a bright future, I'll put it that way, in college coaching. I really do. I mean, he's very likable. He adjusts well to all ages, it seems like. I mean, he was talking to Andrew when my son was like 10, and Andrew loves him. He loves Tyler. And like Tyler just got that ability to connect, and I think he's awesome. And I was 40, or 30 or whatever, 44, and I just think he's got that ability to really connect with everybody. I think Brad has that too. Brad's a cool dude. So
you kind of have to have it in coaching.
Well, you do. There's no doubt. Because you think about, you bring in a recruit and they've got a 10-year-old, you've got a brother. I mean, let's say they got a 10-year-old brother and they're 17 years old. Well, you got to kind of relate to the whole family, right? So I just think Tyler's got a future in this and is someone that Zach Hamer does a wonderful job. And he is crazy good when it comes to the videos he puts out, the scouting and all that. And I know Tyler does that as well. But I feel like now I know Tyler better than Zach. So Zach, if you're listening, I don't mean to dog on you here, but I just feel like Tyler's got that personality that kind of like Brad that is a very well-liked personality. And I think he's going to do a great job. All right, we have got to get out of here because that important Cardinals baseball is next.
Can I say this real quick? Because I found something on Rogers.
That's right. I forgot about that.
In 2014, he was on the Dan Patrick Show, and he said, I can remember the first time I started a game in college and heard the anthem. Talk about an absolute thrill. We were in Champaign. I was playing the University of Illinois, who I wanted to go to out of high school. I went out to their team camp, and they didn't offer me.
What a punk. He could have walked on. That's crazy, isn't it? That's just crazy to even think about. All right, Cardinals baseball's next. Thanks to Tyler Underwood. Joined us on the Tapman's Towing phone line. Tomorrow, Jason Hegemeyer. We'll talk some ticketing at the University of Illinois, whether it be football or basketball. If you got questions about that, let us know. We can ask him. Maybe you're interested in becoming a first-time season ticket holder for one of those sports. And hopefully talk to Pipes as well. Full show tomorrow. Not today. We're out. It's The Drive.
Imagine you're in the south of France in October when the temperature will be 70. Hi, it's Stevie J, and it's time to travel. Join Larry and Elena Canfer for their off-the-beaten path to the south of France and Italy, September 29th through October 9th. The south of France is noted for its Mediterranean lifestyle and unique artists like Van Gogh, Picasso, and Chagall. They'll go off the beaten path to explore picturesque villages and seaside towns. You'll enjoy delicious meals with the greatest olive oil and wine. Then you'll go east to Milan, the Italian city of design and fashion and Ferraris. Again, the trip leaves from Champaign September 29th and goes through October 9th, non-stop flights both ways. It's the south of France and Milan, Italy with Larry and Elena Canfer. For complete details and to sign up, go to StevieJTravel.com. That's StevieJayTravel.com. Stevie J Travel. Where do you want to go? Come celebrate with us. The Blossom Basket Florist has been in business at the same location for the last 70 years. The Bailey family has owned the business for 25 years. Stop by the Urbana store July 11th and 12th, and you can get your free dozen roses and let them say thank you for supporting them. God has blessed them with great customers, and there's no better way to say thank you than with a dozen free roses. Visit them online at blossombasket.com.
Fans, take the opportunity to head down to Game Day Spirit's Green Street location this summer. Shop their awesome selection of Fighting Illini merchandise. While you're there, shop some of their awesome buy one, get one free t-shirt designs, as well as their Nike section and so much more. With new styles coming in daily, there's sure to be something for every Illini fan. Shop at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
As the summer temperatures rise, make sure your energy bills stay low. Call Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing to upgrade to a high-efficiency Lennox air conditioner. Dogtown offers financing, including 0% no interest for qualifying customers. And if you have rooms in your house that don't seem to stay cool, call and ask about the great rebates on the Daikin Douglas mini splits. Call Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing at 217-841-4728. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend.
Jets is hiring. Call 217-352-9992 or stop into 1907 West Springfield Avenue near Round Barn in Champaign. Jets is open till 10 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays till midnight. Are you looking for a side hustle? Here's Josh from Jets talking about the benefits of doing deliveries.
When I was a delivery driver, it was amazing how much the actual amount of money I had just shot right up. You have money in your pocket every single day.
For details on joining the
One day after one of the toughest losses you'll ever see for the Cardinals, the club is back at it tonight as they are set to wrap up their series against the Miami Marlins. Cardinals trying to salvage a game before splitting for Chicago, where they'll play a weekend series against the White Sox before they take a few days for the All-Star break. We do welcome you in to Ameren Total Access here across the Cardinals radio network. The voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, along with Ricky Horton. They've got the call of the game. My name is Matt Pauley, coming your way from our St. Louis studios. The Cardinals did make a small roster move today as right-handed pitcher Kyle Leahy has been recalled from AAA Memphis. In fact, his contract did have to be purchased as he is added to the 40-man roster. Matthew Liberatore, who struggled his last time out, he was sent back down to Memphis, where he has been very good this season. So Liberatore, who's been in the starting rotation, he exits. So really the Cardinals now have 2 spots open in the rotation because of Adam Wainwright going on to the injured list and Liberatore heading back to Memphis. As far as Leahy goes, he was a 17th round pick in the 2018 Major League Baseball draft out of Colorado Mesa University. He is somebody that was 3-3 with a 4.06 ERA at Memphis this year. He also had 51 strikeouts in 51 innings. Once he appears for the first time, he'll be the 4th Cardinals player to make their Major League debut this season. In tonight's game, the pitching matchup, the Cardinals are going to be sending Jack Flaherty, while Eury Perez is going to make the start for the Marlins. As far as Flaherty goes, he has been mostly good here this season, and the Cardinals are 10-6 when starting Flaherty, and in a year where they have struggled, that's one of the better numbers that the Cardinals do have. Now, the Cardinals have Flaherty on the mound, 5-5, 4.60 ERA in 3 career starts against the Marlins. Flaherty is 1-2 with a 3.50 ERA. In his previous start at Miami, he tossed 6 scoreless innings, giving up just 1 hit. That was back in April of 2021. Speaking of Eury Perez, who's going to make the start for the Marlins, he enters with a 5-2 record and a 2.47 ERA as he is going to face off against the Cardinals for the first time in his career. He's coming off the worst start of his brief Major League career when he lasted just 1/3 of an inning on Saturday against the Braves. He gave up 6 runs on 7 hits in a 7-0 loss, and now he is going to try to bounce back tonight against the Cardinals, and we'll see how that goes. One of the good young pitchers across across Major League Baseball. Coming up on this edition of Ameren Total Access, we will hear from Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. He has a conversation with John Rooney coming up in just a few moments. We'll have our Bayer Farm Report. We'll go inside the park as well. Experience college football in St. Louis when Mizzou takes on Memphis September 23rd at the Dome at America Center. Let's pack the house and show our Tiger pride. Learn more at ExploreSt.Louis.com. When we return, we hear from Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. That's up next. This is Ameren Total Access on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Graybar.
Hey, it's Stevie J. Time for another Stever. The Stever program is where I give you my money and you keep and use the stuff. All right, today from Merle Norman. All right, Merle Norman is, unbelievably great when it comes to makeup and your skin. Marilyn will help you. Now, here's what the offer is. I'm going to give you a free color analysis, and I'll give you $100 to buy makeup from Merle Norman, made right here in America. In fact, made in Los Angeles. Marilyn is so good at what she does. So if you would like my $100 bill and a free color analysis from Merle Norman, all you have to do is go to GoStever.com, and click accept. That's all you have to do. You have to make an appointment within 7 days, and then you have to fill out my survey as to how they did, how you liked working with Marilyn. Okay, Merle Norman, our Stever offer. GoStever.com, click accept. You'll get an email later on, late afternoon or evening, if you win. Rooting for you. GoStever.com, click accept for Merle Norman.
Hi, Ellen Hook here, owner of your local Ashley. Ashley's Stars and Stripes sale is happening now. Don't miss out on instant savings with our Buy More, Save More event happening in store. And as a special thank you to our community heroes, all veterans and active military will receive 10% off their purchase. Plus, we offer special financing options for every budget. These 4th of July furniture and mattress deals are only available for a limited time. Visit your local Ashley store to shop and save today. Only at Ashley.
The Champaign County Fair is getting their final Little Miss and Queen candidates lined up for the July 16th pageant at Kessler Hall on the Champaign County Fairgrounds. Sponsors who may want to support this event with Stevie J Broadcasting should be reaching out at champaigncountyfair.cc. July 21st through the 29th, it's the Champaign County Fair welcoming country artist Matt Stell, then Country Music Association's Duo of the Year, Brothers Osborne on stage July 28th. For more details, visit champaigncountyfair.cc.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Sit back and relax and take the drive with Lonte and Derek Piper. Weekdays 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Ameren Total Access continues here across the Cardinals Radio Network. Cardinals Marlins wrapping up a 4-game series this evening at Lone Depot Park. The pitching matchup, Jack Flaherty going for the Cardinals. Eury Perez is going to make the start for the Marlins. Let's head to Miami right now. As the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney is standing by with Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol, and this conversation is being brought to you by Webster University.
Oliver Marmol, the one thing I liked about last night, the offense didn't give up. There was so much fight all the way down to the last strike when Walker hit a home run.
Yeah, they continue to do that, and credit to all of them for not giving in, giving up. They're continuing to punch back. Just we keep giving it up, and it takes a toll on you. But these guys are continuing to take really good at bats.
As you're trying to put pieces together, you had 3 starters working 5 innings last night. That's kind of hard to do.
It is. All of them had unlimited amount of pitches to work with, and unfortunately, it's just getting through that game. You're on your 3rd starter, and they get you through 5 innings, and it's kind of where we're at the moment. I did think Matt's did a really nice job. He's going to get an opportunity to join the rotation again while we're in Chicago, but it just wasn't good enough to get us through yesterday with the rest of those guys.
The last few times out, it looks like Matt's is a little snake bitten. You agree?
Yeah, he's got a little bit more onto him, and he's getting after it, and his pitches have a good finish to it. He's looked pretty good. So where we're at and what he's done, he deserves another shot to start.
And last night, Jordan Hicks got caught in between. There's a runner rounding third base, people yelling at him, and when that ball left his hand, it was uh-oh.
Yeah, and he's been good for us, and that's unfortunate because you can't keep losing these games, and to be able to to put that one away was important, and we found another way to lose. He felt terrible about it, as everybody did, but he felt responsible for the way that game ended, and it was extremely unfortunate.
Oliver, you're one of the most optimistic people I know. You look for the good in everything and everybody. How do you get ready day by day?
You got to be able to put it behind you, and it's. I'll tell you what, it's not easy. It hasn't been easy. You keep this group together. You continue to get them fighting. You can point fingers all you want. It does nothing in this game. You have to be able to turn the page and continue to develop these guys until it's all over, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
How has the coaching staff kept that from happening? Because it happens so often, that finger pointing we're talking about.
Yeah, it's common, and we haven't seen it yet. Usually by this time of the year, the hitters are pointing at the pitchers and telling each other, "Hey, we do your job, we're doing ours," and we've yet to see even a hint of that, which is good. Our staff has done a really nice job with the players and the leadership in that clubhouse to keep it together, and it hasn't been pretty. To be quite honest, it sucks, but guys aren't pointing fingers, and they're continuing to battle together.
Jack had a good one the last time out, and Flaherty goes tonight for you, and you have to feel good about that. How is Tommy Edman, by the way?
Yeah, he got an MRI on his wrist, right wrist inflammation. It hurts him to swing. He can play defense and run, but he can't take an at-bat at the moment. We're still awaiting the MRI results to see kind of what we have going on.
All right, Oliver, we'll talk again before the game tomorrow.
All right, you got it.
All right, thank you, guys. That conversation, it is being brought to you by Webster University. A look at the Cardinals lineup today. Brendan Donovan will once again lead off. He is the DH. Lars Nootbaar bats second. He's in left field. Nolan Arenado, the third baseman, batting third. Batting fourth, catcher Wilson Contreras. Nolan Gorman starts at second base today, batting fifth. Jordan Walker, who had that big home run yesterday, bats sixth in right field. Alec Burleson, he is the first baseman, batting seventh. Paul DeYoung, the shortstop, batting eighth. And then in center field, Dylan Carlson. He is the 9-hitter for today's game. It's the Cardinals. It's the Marlins. We'll come back with our Bear Farm Report. This is Ameren Total Access on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Graybar.
Ho, ho, ho! Christmas in July returns to the ballpark on Monday, July 17th. Whether you're on the naughty or nice list, all fans who purchase the special Christmas in July theme ticket will receive an exclusive mini Fredbird leg lamp. Santa Claus and Santa Fredbird will be on hand for photo ops too. Get in the holiday spirit and grab your Christmas in July tickets at cardinals.com/theme.
Today's culture tells women that when they are unexpectedly pregnant, that they won't be able to do it, that they are failures, that it isn't the right time, or that it's going to be hard. Since when do we give up when life gets tough? Help Vitae Foundation use their research-based pro-woman approach to reach and empower women. Let's change the culture together and show her how strong and successful she really is. For more information, visit adsforlife.org. That's adsforlife.org.
As our nation celebrates its 247th birthday this July, Gale Frericks Trucking is extending a firecracker of a deal to professional Class A CDL drivers interested in joining our team. In addition to our standard offering of great percentage pay, paid holidays and vacations, pre-planned dispatches, benefits, home time every weekend, and $1,200 per week gross pay guarantee, drivers that join us in the month of July will receive an additional $247 per week for the first 16 weeks with us. Take the family out to dinner when you're home every weekend, or use it as a Christmas fund. It doesn't matter to us. This is America, and you have the freedom to do with it what you want. If you have a Class A CDL and would like to explore our regional van and flatbed opportunities and work for a company that works as hard for you as you do for them, call Tim at 765-793-7131 or email timo@gftlog.com.
Let Max Twin City Recycling pay you for your junk metal items. As the weather begins to heat up, now is a great time to put cash in your pocket for the steel, copper, brass, and aluminum items you've been meaning to get rid of. We've recently added a large concrete pad to make unloading quicker and cleaner for our customers. Visit us on North Lincoln Avenue, just north of I-74, or at maxrecycling.com.
Starting it over is what we do at Max Twin City Recycling.
At ABC Heating and Air, it's our promise to help you always be comfortable. Do you need rescued because you're burning hot? Do Do you need rescued because your air is shot? Call ABC Heating and Air at 352-5400 and let us rescue you from the heat. ABC Heating and Air, 352-5400. Can't you see you need to call me at ABC? Call ABC Heating and Air. That's ABC Heating and Air, 352-5400.
Hey, Illini fans, it's Mike Greenberg, Cats Lon Tay, and Derek Piper, weekdays from 4 to 6, right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
This is Ameren Total Access on the Cardinals Radio Network. Cardinals and Marlins tonight wrapping up a 4-game series. Let's get into our Bayer Farm Report brought to you by Bayer. Health for all, hunger for none. Some interesting things happening yesterday for the Memphis Redbirds at AAA as they matched up against Indianapolis on the road. Mason Wynn, he had 3 RBIs yesterday as he hits a home run, his 9th home run. It was his only hit of the game, but he's got his batting average up to 263, and he had a really slow start from a batting average standpoint. So those numbers have really come along, and it's going to be interesting to watch what happens with him the rest of the season, and at what point in time maybe a promotion for him would come, probably at some point next season. But Wynn continues to play at a pretty high level at Memphis. Speaking of playing at a pretty high level, Gordon Graceffo, he got the start yesterday for the Redbirds. He went 6 innings, allowing just 1 unearned run on 3 hits, 1 strikeout, and 2 walks. So since getting to Memphis, he's 2-2 with a 3.53 ERA. And just watching what's going on with the Cardinals right now, we mentioned Matthew